Okay, let's go.
We do? It's not just me and like 3 different tabs?
No, no, it isn't. We're live now. Thank you for that. Hello everybody, welcome to Dungeons and Discords. Just hopping in very briefly, the group has made a couple of decisions in recent days after a whole series of events in Shigun's village. They went off to discuss a potential exchange with a green dragon hidden, tucked away up in the mountains. He gave them an offer to chase away or otherwise deal with a rival green dragon in another location in exchange for a singular scale from him. The group declined, at which point Hoyd decided to demonstrate his impressive storytelling ability, to put it mildly, with an illusion of the dragon, which led to a little bit of combat, but fortunately, dragons are smart, and he figured out it was an illusion and thus ended combat without killing them all, which is a pretty impressive feat for a level 8, level 9 group.
I was convinced we were dead.
Oh yeah, well...
Maybe we are.
Anyway, the group then went off and decided to investigate where this other green dragon had been supposedly living, which was in the forest by where Zook's village is. Village of Birchyeft, I believe was the name. As Zook, when he had left the village, has...
I actually changed the name. It's Birchyeft.
Birchyeft. I assume so.
Birchyeft.
Birchyeft. Okay, that's a word. Cool.
This means Zook is now the mayor because he has the power to change the name.
I'll go write this down.
It's like, no.
Anyway,
so
I DM'd it to you.
Okay, sorry, I missed it. Anyway, going off to Birchyeft, because Zook has no memory of being subjugated by a green dragon, so they wanted to go see what was up with that. We now join the group after a fight that they had accidentally initiated, discovering a set of hobgoblins that had been tracking them. They went to confront the hobgoblins. Things went as they do, and a few of them were incinerated, a few of them weren't. Following the combat, the group began to pick over the battlefield. There's not much to speak of. The hobgoblins themselves had their armor, their shields, and so on. But there was also this structure, a shack. It's probably a shack is underselling it. It's pretty big. That Prudence's familiar, that's the word, deer had tracked them to before the combat had begun. The group went over to this area, held back a little bit, and had deer attempt to open the door. Upon opening the door, they discovered that the back of the door was engraved with a glyph of warding, causing deer to unfortunately be immediately evaporated and sent back to her little demi-plane where she lives.
Went back to her Pokeball.
Yeah. Leaving only what appears to be a giant boulder, like almost 10 feet across, 10 by 10-ish. There's a scorch mark on one side from the glyph of warding. The entire structure of the shack demolished. And this is where we pick up. What would you guys like to do?
How out of place does this boulder seem?
How do you mean?
Was it inside the shack?
I think I know what you mean, but what are you looking for?
It was inside the shack, but the shack exploded.
Yes.
Right. But does it look like maybe the shack was just built around the boulder, or the boulder was maybe moved here specifically, or?
Oh, okay.
I can roll something for that,
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what that would be. I'd say, yeah, if you want to get up close to it, I suppose that would be investigation.
Okay, let me do that.
If not, it would be perception. So one or the other.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna just look to see if something seems off, like maybe it was pushed or rolled and like the ground is flattened, or if it's always been here, or
Okay.
whatever.
So are you doing investigation or perception?
Investigation, that's a 16 I rolled.
16 on investigation. Okay. So making your way over to the boulder, you notice it's definitely been here a while. You don't see any tracks or any marks that would indicate that it had been dragged here, per se. However, a lot of the surrounding area is kind of leveled now, thanks to the Glyph of Warding, so it's a little bit tough.
Okay.
Rocks and stone aren't exactly your field of expertise, but it doesn't look... It doesn't look like it had just suddenly been plunked down. But as you look closer with your 16, as you look a little closer, you notice something interesting about the grain of the rock. And looking closer, you can see what appears to be almost a metallic material running through it.
Hey, Rurik. Come check out this boulder. It seems a little off to me.
Ah, off boulders, yes.
And I know
I shall dash to the boulder. I will make a boulder dash, as it were.
The cleric goes clunk, clunk, clunk. to the
Rock lore
boulder.
time. Time for
Let's see.
rock lore.
Rock
You take
lore.
3 points of psychic damage for that nonsense. No, you don't, but you don't. Go ahead and examining this rock structure, sort of following what Shigun has pointed out to you. Make a history check with advantage.
Yay. Well, I would assume I would apply stone cutting to this as well, right?
So the stone cunning is what's giving you advantage. Oh no, it's just a bonus, isn't it?
No, that's not quite how it works.
I forget how. Explain to me how your abilities work, please. I don't remember.
I'm considered proficient in history for stonework, and I add double the proficiency bonus instead.
There you go. Go ahead and do that.
Expertise.
Well,
All right.
expertise is a feature that gives you that ability. It's not the name of the double.
Double the proficiency bonus. All right then.
What's your modifier, like 1,000,000?
It's gonna be a +9.
Hold on.
And I rolled a nat 20 on top of that.
All right, let's get the
Oh.
good rolls out of the way before.
Oh,
Well,
and-
I was going to say have a D8 on that.
And so, to answer a question that I missed at the very beginning of the game, Prudence, the fire resistance in this case would stack because it's coming from two different sources. So resistance from a
resist
piece of
something
armor,
twice?
a resistance from a piece of armor, and a resistance from your innate physicality, that would stack.
Oh. So it halves it twice?
So it would basically quarter the damage.
Ooh, dang. That's
That
pretty
being
good.
said, wizards are not proficient in the use of shields, so he wouldn't be able to cast a spell while wearing one. He'd have to doff the shield to cast a spell. That requires somatic components.
Sounds like Shigun could train him.
Alright. So, what was that roll? I'm sorry.
29.
29! Okay.
That was a
In
nat
your-
20 on top of stone cunning.
Plus 9, plus, yeah. So, in that case, yeah, you recall, in your youth, stories of stars falling from the sky. And you've heard of people working with metal. Star metal, it's called. And looking closely at this material, this rock, however old it is, definitely came from the sky.
Oh.
In other words, it's a meteorite, yeah.
I believe this is a meteorite
Because-
then.
The way the rock has been weathered, it's clearly been here a while. That's why at first glance, it looks natural. It doesn't have any, like, the bubbling texture that a normal meteorite does. It's been here for a very long time. But the metal itself is unaffected by the weather.
Well, I'm not sure what the would I know of any significance of this star metal. I'm assuming this is something like mined from these kinds of meteors.
Yeah, I mean,
Meteorite?
it's not incredibly common just because this material itself is so rare. But compared to normal steel, it tends to be both lighter and stronger for most weaponry or other objects created with it.
I have 2 comments here. One, this rock came from the heavens, correct? Why not ask your patron?
Rurik about this.
Are you asking me or?
I'm asking Rurik.
I think you may be mixing up some of the various meanings of heavens.
It's up to him to answer. Also, Prudence, that does something?
Prudence, you would like to judge the value of the metal with the help of your jeweler's loop? I
thought that was just a toy.
I mean, it's basically a magnifying glass.
It does something.
But smaller. Make an investigation check, but the DC is going to be fairly high. This isn't exactly your area of expertise.
I can give guidance.
You can. That works.
All right. I will give guidance to Prudence.
So Prudence says,
And inspired.
"Could I get a little help? I'd like to just examine the value of this rock, if you could." And he receives.
Oh dang, that's not a good roll.
Ooh. 12. This particular metal, kind of hard to tell. Like I said, not exactly your field of expertise. You do know the metal, even in its unrefined state, is fairly valuable. Unfortunately, from what you can glean from a quick look, not an exact value. Is this expensive? Yes. How expensive? Yes. That's basically what you got right now.
How large is this thing?
It's pretty big. It's about 10 by 10 by 10. Thereabouts.
Oh geez, the big boy.
It's a
Man.
real
Is
big.
it
This is
enchanted
quite
with
the
something?
fun.
Okay, so you use the researcher feature of your background. And, I mean, you can use sending to contact, I'm blanking on her name. You met her in, Fendalo.
Yes, we sold her the bullet.
You sold her the
Thing.
bullet armor, yeah.
What?
I'm blanking on her name off the top of my head. But,
Oh, the bullet. Got it.
Those weird metal creatures that we
Yeah,
got.
you...
Yeah,
bullet.
we got the metal carapace from them and
Yeah.
into her.
Where's
got
the
it.
map of... Where's the map of...
And we carried that corpse all throughout town and freaked out a couple people.
Yes.
Got it.
I can't find the map of Darnak in a quick skim, but yes, I know who you're referring to. So what would you like to send to your blacksmith friend? She was also of note, just as an aside, I'm glad Prudence remembered this. She did mention that she is looking for exotic metals and other such materials, and she did promise to pay for that information. So I'm fairly certain that's what Prudence is going for.
Yes.
But I'll have to wait until he finishes typing
I
first.
actually
That's
thought
polite.
of that as well.
Now I am actually a little annoyed that I can't find the map of Fendalo. Oh well, whatever. That's a later problem. Dear, whatever your name is. And you kind of like slur that a little. Like, dear, what? I've come upon this rock that has fallen from the sky. Do you know if it could be valuable? If so, please advise. And there's a moment where just a second, not even a second, goes by. Please. Then it cuts off. Not even a second goes by, and you hear, "Star metal! Huh! Never thought I'd work with it. Not really. Where? Where'd you find it?"
Oh, aren't
Isn't
they?
this the middle of the night?
No.
I thought it was daytime.
It's mid morning, I believe.
Didn't we fight these creatures at night?
You did not. Not as far as
It's
I'm aware.
daytime.
It's daytime. Daytime.
Man,
Gotta
daylight
get
savings time
down
to screwed up our game too.
Daytime. Aha! Here it is. Eli Mortigak. That was her name. All right. So unfortunately, yes, if you're out of third level spell slots.
Oh, I have. If it's imperative that you're the one who messages her, I do have a potion that could possibly restore the ability to cast that spell again.
Oh, he can use higher spell slots.
I guess you could do that.
Does
You
he?
can always upcast spells. If you
That
have
feels
them.
like a weird thing to upcast, but I suppose that makes sense if you have the upper spell slots.
Okay, so you upcast sending and say, how much are you willing to pay for it? And there's a decidedly longer pause this time. And after a moment, you're not gonna like this response. After a moment, you get back, well, that depends on how much of it we're talking about. I could be argued. I don't know if I want to give you a price. I'd have to see how much. Who knows?
Any chance we can get this machined into something useful to us?
Prudence, you'll ask Shigun, can we carry this boulder?
You said it's how big? Like
Also-
10 by 10?
It's 10 by 10 by 10. It's probably at least a ton, if not more.
Also, again, is the boulder enchanted?
How are you gonna go about finding that out?
I will ask someone who knows how to figure that out, whether the boulder is enchanted.
I think Prudence is the best case for that, and they're currently occupied.
But Prudence, what will you attach the block and tackle to?
I will throw a rock at it.
Okay, you toss a rock at it, it hits the rock and slides off.
Okay, so it doesn't explode.
As everyone's standing around it, yes. It does not.
Thanks, Zook.
I'm trying my best.
I mean, to be fair, it did work, so...
Hmm. Well, it would be so wasteful just to leave it here, but I'm not sure if anyone else could come along and move it.
Well, if we wanted to take it, we'd have to we'd probably have to drag it or find some way to either break it down or use magic. You know, if someone has a way to shrink it or something.
Do we have,
That's way outside my realm.
Prudence, don't you have that disc thing that you do?
We'd still have to manage to hoist it onto the disc somehow.
Well, I just want to make sure that it'll carry the weight.
Can you cast the disc under it?
It cannot lift that much.
But can it lift a Shigun who is lifting the rock?
I mean, I don't think...
I have an idea.
What is...
Princess, no. Kind of gives you a sidelong look, like, I know what you're saying, and stop it.
I don't remember the exact mechanics of this, but Prudence does Ozoluk's resilience fear spell you have, doesn't that make whatever's inside it weightless? Or effectively weigh 1 pound? What about the bead of force? Say, I was pretty sure
Oh.
it had that effect.
It's a bead of force, I believe.
I can't remember the description of bead of force at the moment.
I happen to have one.
I mean, I've got one.
Who doesn't have one?
Everyone who used theirs.
I think I used mine, but I don't remember how or why, and I
Okay,
probably
I used
shouldn't be
mine
given
too.
another one. Prudence is not typing.
He's taking implements out to attempt to measure the weight of the boulder. Imagine
I was wanting to. I was hoping to get an answer regarding how beads of force work.
So why was there a shack built over this rock? Somebody trying to hide it?
Giant shiny
It's
rock.
valuable and they're trying to keep it.
Yeah, makes sense that a bunch of hobgoblins would, build their house around it. Can't exactly move it easily.
That's also probably why they trapped it.
Yeah.
So they weren't trying to kill me. That's disappointing.
They did seem awfully interested in you, and I do want to follow up on that.
They were
But-
probably also trying to kill you.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better. That's at least something I can control.
Well, do you want people to come after you and try to kill you?
I'm used to it.
So I looked up horse.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was hoping Ember would answer, but
I don't know if Ember wants to answer that or how that's gonna work.
Is Ember...
what is it specifically? I just heard a lot there, and I'm trying to extract exactly what it is that you're looking for.
I've been trying to figure out how beads of force operate.
The plan is to throw a bead of force at it and, encase it in the bouncy ball and make it weightless.
So the
Because I was
bead of
pretty-
force specifically, I mean, let me just grab the description of it. Hang on, let me grab the specific description of it, because I'll tell you exactly how it works. Bead of force. You can throw the bead. Each creature. Well, I would say I would rule that you'd be able to target it, even though it's not a creature necessarily. 10-foot radius, that will definitely enclose it. Sphere can be picked up, and its magic causes it to weigh only 1 pound, regardless of the weight of the creatures inside. Even though it specifies creatures, because I assume that's what they imagine the typical use case to be, I'd say it'd probably work.
The thing I looked up though, it only lasts for a minute.
Oh.
Let's see.
Would it break the cart if we tried to put it in the cart?
Probably.
If it
Yeah,
weighs a ton,
a sphere of transparent force then encases the area for 1 minute.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have 1 minute to do whatever it is you want to do.
1 minute
Man.
travel 400 miles.
can we?
that was such a clever idea too. Damn it.
Oh, I was going to polymorph the rock after.
You can't.
Can we turn the rock into a creature and then polymorph the creature?
No.
Or do you want to polymorph it?
To make it lighter?
Make it movable.
Bury it.
That also makes it not star metal!
Then you're
But
gonna
when-
polymorph it.
But when the polymorph spell expires, it'll turn back into star metal.
Well, here's the thing. If we're going to polymorph it, couldn't we just polymorph something else into star metal and start a counterfeiting operation?
We absolutely could. I'm glad you suggested that.
Polymorph isn't permanent.
Who the
So-
heck are
That's
you?
not the
What have
point.
you done with Shigun?
That was out of character.
Yes, it was out of character, and I applaud.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Who are you?
Well, crap. I don't know. I'm out of ideas. The only thing I could think of would be dragging it, but if it weighs about a ton,
We could also simply send the coordinates and expect a commission produced afterward.
Good mark.
And yes, Prudence, we will talk about that on off time.
Says, if you like a counterfeiting operation, you could cast the creation spell, which I have picked up. And he
Is
sort
this gonna be the
of
whole-
vaguely gestures to where you know he keeps his spell book within his robes.
Well, I think at least one of us would like to have something made from this, and then we sell off the rest.
Commissions mean less money, which is what I'm trying to avoid right now.
And why do you need so much money?
Because he's a wizard.
I'm aware of that. But he has to have a specific reason other than just copying spells and components and wizard stuff.
Money is nice. Sometimes people just want money to be able to buy stuff with it.
I mean, money benefits all of us. In fact, I'm operating at a deficit right now. I still need to make money to pay off a commission that I'm going to be due in some weeks.
Oh no.
Yes,
Ember
I
has
haven't
totally forgotten.
What?
Oh no, you've forgotten about the commission?
Prudence looks at Hoyd, it's just like that sort of chin down, like eyebrow raised, are you sure you went to college kind of look. That says, money is money. That's why I need it. I mean, you had to go to at least a college because you're a bard. Haha, get it? I'm clever.
I get it. It's a joke.
Like
I guess I went to
Plankton.
school.
Plankton is a bard because he went to college.
And all... Yeah, no, that wasn't going to work in my head. Never mind.
Dang it. I had another clever application of spells that might be cool, but I don't think it'll work.
Well, what's the idea?
Casting flight on me and then meld into stone.
I imagine
Even
you'd
work.
fall like a stone.
Are they both concentration spells?
I mean, one of the spells isn't mine.
Oh, you cast fly.
Yeah.
And then...
Fly and then meld into stone, and then I fly and carry the stone with me. But no, you can't move while you're in stone. What the
Yeah, you merge into the wall, and then the only thing you can do is merge back out again.
hell? Oh, it's so bad.
Not a great spell, really.
So freaking cool! Like right now, it would be so cool if I could do that.
It's
Don't
if
mind me, I'm just a flying boulder.
If it weren't a third level spell slot, I would say Meld into Stone is a pretty decent spell. But it's a third level spell.
Yeah, it has no business being a third level spell for as rigid as it is.
At first, it'd be great, I think.
No,
Yeah.
you can just enter and exit from whence you came.
Sorry,
It's basically you hide in the zone.
Sorry, Jeremy Crawford. We just think we know better than a professional game designer, that's all.
I'm out of ideas.
I'd hate to let this opportunity go to waste, but I can't think of anything else to do it.
We might be right. We might just have to let the blacksmith know where it's located and follow up later. And I have concerns about breaking it up because I don't know what that would do to the usefulness or value of the metal.
Prudence,
Wouldn't
you have...
a dwarf with stone cunning have an idea of how to break it without ruining the vein?
So I'm just looking at what Prudence is typing here. What you're trying to do, I would say, requires very specific experience and knowledge. I don't know necessarily that, like, you could easily estimate the size of the boulder. That's just simple trigonometry.
Is there anything that I can help with furnishing him the information he needs?
But the weight... The only problem is that just because of how incredibly rare this material is, it's not exactly common knowledge what the density of meteorite metal is. You can easily estimate the size. You know, it's 10 foot cubed. You can get a more specific number if you'd like me to give you a more specific number, or if you want to measure a more specific number. But it's roughly 10 foot cubed. Then, you know, math using volume, using the volume of the thing times the density of the thing, you can get the weight of the thing. But the density of Meteorite, unless you had worked with somebody who specifically worked with this material, which I don't think any of you would have, that's unfortunately not something you'd necessarily be able to do. That's why I kind of ballparked the weight a ton or more. Could be less, could be more, but the thing's huge. And in most of yours experience, when it comes to big boulders, they're pretty darn heavy.
Yeah, even if it were lighter, just the sheer size of it alone would make it difficult to carry or transport in the cart.
It's a shame it can't drink a potion.
Why?
Because I could make it smaller if it could.
Oh yeah, you have the potion of diminution, don't you?
I sure can. I can't just crack the vial over the top of it and that would work, would it?
I mean, you can
You could
try.
carve a mouth into the boulder.
If that worked, then that would shrink the planet as soon as the potion hit the ground.
That's scary.
Yes, don't...
Feels like somebody
But
would
how
have
would he
done
carry
that
it?
at some point.
His arms are too small.
Yeah, we
Planet
could
is
just-
notedly non-shrunken.
That would work. How far away are we from town?
Prudence says, I could polymorph into a giant ape, and perhaps try to carry it. Let me just double check the carrying capacity of a giant ape.
How long would that transformation spell last?
Like an hour?
So a giant ape can carry 345 pounds.
Honestly, I think a better plan would be to, like, just try and get, like, the geologist or whatever out to here.
And Prudence says it lasts about an hour or so.
Yeah, an hour wouldn't be enough time to really get anywhere. Yeah, I think Zook is right. We might just need to, you know, inform the...
Oh wait, no,
blacksmith
sorry.
lady.
I forgot to accommodate for the fact that it has a size modifier. So I lied. A giant ape can carry 1,380 pounds because it is huge inside. I forgot about that. So yes, a giant ape could potentially lift this darn thing.
Well, if the giant ape could lift it, then that just leaves the question of polymorph's duration. Because an hour-long spell, it's not exactly practical to transport it across long distances.
An hour-long spell, and you'd be encumbered.
Right.
So you'd be traveling at half speed.
Yeah.
Half the walking speed of the ape, not even the speed of your cart.
It'd be one thing if we were like a day or two away from this blacksmith person, but I don't think we are.
You also don't know where she is right now, so... Prudence says, that's a good point. I give up. Let's give the blacksmith a location.
Yeah, I was looking through my spell list, like, trying to find something that might be useful or helpful that I could prepare after a long rest, but I don't have access to anything that would work. Like, not even Stone Shape will help here.
See, I have this sneaking suspicion that Ember knows exactly what the solution is, and he's giggling in his head that we haven't found it yet.
Oh, honey.
I have a sneaking suspicion that this isn't a puzzle.
I was gonna say, you've obviously never been a DM before, because we don't always know the solution to the puzzles we create. Oh, did I say the quiet part out loud?
Oh no, I've DM'd before, but this would be in character for you.
Alright, so Prudence, you use another sending spell to communicate the location and the size of the star metal lump. And then you ask for money.
Yeah, I think we should move on from this point, because otherwise the whole session will be the boulder, and that would be funny.
Hey,
Boulder
on the
dash.
upside, at least you guys haven't been... Well, never mind. You might be later. So, I'm not going to say it.
No, now
Or
I'm curious.
hobgoblins.
No.
there is a pause there for a moment. Not as long as when you had requested for a specific sum. But she, Elim does get back to you, and she says, "It's one of the biggest hauls I've ever heard of. If I get there, and there's as much star metal there as I think there is, we could negotiate, but for now, let's say 3,000 gold." Also, I don't think that was her voice, but whatever. You know what I'm saying.
I mean, yes,
It's all
we
through
heard you
text
say it.
message anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So you got a slightly huskier voice than that, but anyway, it's fine. Gotta love them sultry women. Anyway, okay. What now?
Should
If you'd
we
like-
attempt to hide the rock so other people won't take our finding?
If we can't manage
Yeah.
to take it, I don't think other people will.
Yeah,
Not unless they come by with, like,
you
a
need
dragon.
like a specific crew of people intentionally coming to take this specifically. Like this is.
You would need a dragon.
Of
It's a good thing we know one of those.
Of note, you guys, you are about 250 feet off from the road. Like, you can see the road kind of through the trees. You can't see your cart. You just kind of know it's there. So, you're not exactly visible from the road at the moment.
We should probably check on the cart to make sure it's still there.
And also, to use it to leave. Because I don't know if there's any more business to be done here.
If we can't take it with us, I say let's get back to the cart and get back on the road.
Then how will we, I guess we would just make a point to stop by Fandalo and follow up with if she was able to get the star metal stuff.
Seems fair to me. You know,
Right.
if Prudence has contact with her, then Prudence can find out, you know, a couple days' time.
Prudence, while Hoyle checks on the cart, Prudence will use the Wall of Stone spell to create a shelter. Okay, you just create a shell over the whole thing, or do you just create a wall on one side?
I would think that would make it more conspicuous.
Okay, so yeah, from the road, you'd more or less just pull up something that looks rough and vaguely just rock-shaped. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, easy enough to do. It's actually, strangely enough, due to the nature of the spell, it's harder to make the rock look natural, but you know what you're going for, and you have the assistance of Rurik to sort of describe what this rock should look like here in this region. So, yeah, you pull the rock up from the ground, from the
I
soil,
can help you
and
be a stone
hide
artisan.
it. And you take a step back, and like it's still a boulder that's sticking out from the ground, but it doesn't look special in any way now. Okay, so you head back to the road and you carve a symbol on one of the trees. Is it facing the road or away from the road? Or, I guess, oblique to the road. So it's only, like, visible from a specific angle. Okay, so it's facing the road, but it's something like an arrow pointing down the road or something, you know, but it just shaped in a very specific way. Something like that that's easy to misinterpret. Okay. Makes sense to me. just have to remember to mention that to Elaine.
That's clever, carving a symbol on a tree nearby. Also harmful to the environment. I can't believe you do such a thing.
Hoid X time-shifting goat man.
Okay, because of the smaller font in the window, I misread time shifting. I'll let you guys film this.
I
No.
also misread it in the same way.
No.
What's happening?
Don't worry
There-
about it.
we're shifting
no.
point.
Experts.
No.
I missed what they said. What?
I know.
He carved it in an italic font and nobody can read it properly.
You're better off for not
We
knowing.
misread.
My life
we
is
misread.
worse off knowing what you just said. So
Well, Prudence said it for us, so it's okay.
this is why I drink during my games. You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
We love you.
Hey, be glad I'm not high.
I mean, yes, but also.
Yeah, we
Um,
we wouldn't do a session high. That would be mean.
Unless that was like the gimmick of the character.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh no, that'd get annoying real fast. Let's be
I
honest.
bet.
Anyway,
No, I would.
you guys are back on the road. You
Yes.
just get your cart together. The cart is still there. There
Yay.
was, as you were sort of like breaching the tree line, there was what looked to be a small caravan of people. There were like 3 or 4 people just had hopped down from their own cart to take a look at your cart. And there's like a group of gnomes, not forest gnomes. You don't recognize them, Zook. And they go, "Hey, is this yours?"
Yes, no shoe.
Isn't Honoroi still on the cart?
Oh no, thank you. You're right. Honoroi is with the cart. I forgot Honoroi existed.
Honoroi is defending our cart's honor.
So he would just be, I guess, conversing with the travelers, probably.
So he's shooing away the Jawas?
Excuse you, that is a slur.
Otini! No. So yeah, Honoroi would be. That's now canon. That's what rock gnomes sound like.
Yes.
That's what gnome. That's what the language of gnomes sound. No.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. So I sorry, I just
fun.
completely forgot Honoroi existed. I don't know why. I even gave him his own little mini here and everything. But anyway, yes, Honoroi is conversing with a group of travelers who see you all bust out of the woods, bloody and burned, and they all kind of take a step back at once, and Honoroi gives you guys a wave, and the people he's conversing with kind of, you see them relax slightly, but not completely.
Imagine we must be quite the motley crew.
Prudence, as you ignore them and just climb onto the cart and say, "That was exhausting. Almost out of spells, so let's not get into too much trouble."
I have a potion for that.
Honoroi, who are your
Fire
friends?
Oh, they're, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch your names. That's not what he sounds like. I'll fix it later. Anyway, I didn't quite catch your names. And they, what you gathered to be the leader of the caravan, the one who happens to be standing in front, and says, "We're the Quickwicks.
Are you now?
Yes, we sell candles and other fiery things."
Quick. That is
Like
such a wonderful
explosives?
name.
Have I heard of them?
Not these ones specifically, but you do know a Quickwick family. They are, as they said, they're purveyors of candles, torches, other types of flammable things. You've heard rumors that they're experimenting with more dangerous materials, but you haven't heard anything come of it yet. Prudence says, "Quick, wicks! Don't you want wicks to burn slowly?" And the one in front
It's fine.
says, "Well, we didn't pick the. That's not how." And he just kind of leaves
It's fine.
it at that.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a fine name.
Prudence nods.
Well, I think the name is clever.
Honoroi says, "Yes, they were just telling me that they're traveling up north. They're looking to potentially go up through the border into Alyssa, and the leader kind of cuts them off and says, 'We didn't realize there was a war on, so I guess we're not doing that.'" And he quips something in Gnomish to the other three, and Zook, I think,
What
would be
did
the
he
only.
say?
I was going to
What
say,
did he
Zook, I
say?
think you're the only one that would know this. He basically just said, "God fucking damn it," to the rest of them in Gnomish, but the rest of you just hear.
But we happen to have the Prudence's magic. What was the telepathy thing?
I mean, you don't know there's telepathic bond. You don't necessarily
Thank you.
know everything that they know. You're just able to communicate telepathically.
Right,
So,
but Zook could choose to relay that information if he wanted to.
Should Zook choose to relay that information? How long does Rari's telepathic bond last?
I think it's an hour.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
It's long gone. You had it
I
during.
choose to use discretion and not share the information.
That's fair. You see the three of them start to sort of bundle up and pile back onto the cart. This was more or less just a rest stop for them, greeting another traveler on the road. And the one at the front kind of peers past you and sees Zook standing there. So sorry, Prudence. Yes, you did resummon Deer, so Deer is around. Which is why Rari's telepathic bond is gone, because it takes an hour. Anyway, they peer past all of you and they peer at Zook, and they again quip something to you in Gnomish, and they say, "Oh goodness gracious, I just forgot the name of your village again.
Birchyeft.
Yeft, thank you." And they say, "You're from Birchyeft."
I answer in Gnomish in the affirmative.
Okay. And without elaborating, he just says, "Sorry," and hops up on the cart, and as quickly as he can, hops up on the cart and gets on their way.
Okay.
That's not good.
Well, it's not good.
It's not
No,
my
I'm not
first
sharing
choice.
this. Y'all don't know it's not good.
Indeed, you don't.
I have a question for the Quickwicks.
As they're moving away, you can call it out to them if you'd like.
Do you happen to sell explosives? It's the only thing I could think of that would have a quick wick.
Oh god.
The cart doesn't stop.
I don't think they're in that business.
The
We
cart
don't know
doesn't
until we
stop.
ask.
Back
And
alley, midnight
one of them,
fireworks.
One of them pokes their head out the back and says, "We don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sure you
sounds-
don't.
That sounds dangerous."
I will cast message to the leader.
Oh, good lord.
And also illegal.
For the record, explosives actually aren't illegal in Sundi, because explosives don't really exist per se.
I will throw my charisma behind this.
It's because Hoy knows the lawmaster, so he's familiar with all
Okay.
the laws.
Make an intimidation check.
It's random. And also illegal.
So 12.
Wound up.
Okay.
The-
I mean,
Like-
they're at this point they're far enough away that they've sort of pulled their head back into the cart. You don't get a response back via message, and then they leave the 150 feet range. You don't get a response back.
That's fair.
So Prudence would like to know who's using his mage armor spell.
Not Hoyd.
I don't have it right now.
I'm not using it.
At least as far as I know, I'm not.
Because I think I know you cast it on yourself every morning, basically, so...
He was casting on me while I didn't have my glamored armor, but now that I do, it's better.
That's right.
I don't think I'm using it. I might be using it, I don't know. My armor class is 17.
Oh, that's better than what mage armor would give you, so...
Oh,
Yeah, but I think it's just you, Prudence.
There you go. So it's a first level spell slot that you burnt on it this morning. I imagine that's what you're looking for. What level spell slot? Yeah. Because I know you do water breathing and mage armor, and then before most combats and other encounters, you do Rari's telepathic bond, if I recall. So. Okay. You guys are back on the road. Heading sort of southwestern-ish, vaguely in the direction of the gnome village here.
out of character,
Sure.
would it be would it be rude to offer feedback during the session?
You can DM it if you would like.
It's fine.
Okay. But yes, we do have these parallel modes of communication. It is fascinating, the wonders of the internet. I'm not trying to sound patronizing, I'm just really tired.
Who's claiming the various shields that we looted?
Yeah, so you have, by the way, of the loot, let me break this down, you have 4 of those shields, at least one of which is a shield of fire resistance. You've identified one of them. You imagine the rest are the same, but you don't know for sure.
If they're similarly unforced
okay.
by the blast,
If you spend the time to identify all of them, yes, all of them are shields of fire resistance. They don't require attunement, specifically. There were 2 longbows and 2 longswords. Sorry, 2 longbows and 4 longswords. All 4 of them had one. They were wearing chainmail, although that may or may not be useful to any of you. The chainmail didn't appear to be special. It was marked with the same insignia, but didn't appear to be special otherwise.
I think I'll take 1 set of chainmail, just for the insignia, and that's it.
Okay, I mean, you can, if you want, you can just pry off one of the pauldrons and keep that.
Oh, is that where the insignia is?
Yep, they're on the shoulders.
Okay, I'll how big are the pauldrons?
I mean, they were
Are they
on
like...
hobgoblins, so they're probably about that big.
So they're not blizzard-sized?
No, they're not blizzard pauldrons. They're not so large that if they turned their head to one side, it would completely obscure their view.
Okay, good. I'll just take the pauldron.
You're not fighting Arthas, for goodness sake.
God. One thing I hate about Blizzard, like they have neat character designs and shit. Man, their pauldrons are huge.
Yeah, they're kind of for it.
They lean hard into the cartoony art style, so I get that.
Yeah, I get that, but even so, even with respect to that, they make big ass pauldrons.
Well, if there's extra shield, we could give one to Honoroi, give him a little equipment boost.
Okay, Honoroi now. Honoroi, shield get. His AC is boosted by 2. Okay.
Also fire resistance.
All
I would
right.
like to lay claim to a shield as well, though I am slightly worried about the insignia on it and what effect that might have on, I guess, our reputation? I don't really know what it might convey.
Go ahead and make a religion check.
Oh boy, religion! Something I'm good at!
And if there's still a spare shield after everyone else takes one, I'd like to take one as well.
Well, so that'd be Honoroi, Shigun, assuming you get one,
Yeah.
Rurik, and there's one free. So, and Prudence, I think, claimed that one. So there's
Yeah.
4 right
So-
there.
So if Hoyd and Zook don't want one, then it works.
I rolled a 16 on that religion check.
16.
Ho-
You
Hoyd
don't-
doesn't need one. It'd be fun, but I don't need one.
You don't recognize the insignia. It's not a religion that you recognize, and it's not a house that you would recognize necessarily. It's not a house that Shigun would recognize either, unfortunately.
Okay.
You're not quite
What-
sure what this symbol represents, but
What about my history?
I was also about to ask if Prudence or Hoyd might recognize it as well, because I know Prudence is a scholar and Hoyd has a history.
Well, that he does.
Yeah.
He's skull.
I'd say normally in this case, this would be one of the times where I'd want you to tell me that beforehand, so I could let him know to roll with or without advantage. But I will allow you to make a history check on your own, Prudence, if you would like.
That's what I meant. I didn't necessarily mean to ask as a help action or something.
That's fine. Yeah, so
Hoyd
Hoyd,
knows nothing.
you can do the same, and with a 5, you do not.
I will give Prudence
know
guidance
anything.
again.
Okay, you grant Prudence guidance as, a history check, as you're just thinking back to recall, like, ooh, is this something that I know? Is this something that I remember?
PG.
Only because you're attacking this from a slightly different direction than Rurik would, so... That's a good question. I don't know. Why is your sheet saying
Maybe
you have a plus 8 to
Is it
history?
Maybe because
it's a
you're
refresher
old?
sheet? For background?
Well, we have a 4 proficiency, and I'm assuming you have a +4 intelligence, right?
I mean, I have a +9 to insight,
4?
so...
Is your proficiency bonus plus 4 at level 9?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah?
that's
Yes.
right. Oh, right. Tier 3 gameplay.
Yep,
Right.
also have a D8.
So D8 and D4.
You're welcome.
Huzzah!
With
That's a number.
a
That's a
27.
number.
Okay. You vaguely recognize the symbol. The DC was 25. You do
wow.
recognize the symbol just very, very faintly. You are familiar with entities that are not necessarily gods per se, but they are extraordinarily powerful beings. And this is one of them. What you recall of this creature, or the being that this represents, is that they're called the Ashen Wolf. There's not a whole lot of information about them other than the creatures that tend to follow them revel in destruction.
Interesting.
They revel in destruction, and they believe that almost religiously, like I said, not a god, but very close to one. They believe that fire has a cleansing effect, and that anything that stands in their way is deserving of this cleansing fire. As I go and pull open the book I got it from to remind myself.
Oh, good. The Eternal Fire.
It's a cult of pyromaniacs.
If anyone follows The Witcher.
Okay.
Okay.
You do recognize this class of, this category almost of beings known as an All-Risen. They are a category of beings in sort of the way that you would categorize creatures as being below gods, but they are about as close as you could be and not be a god.
I recognize that name.
I believe there's an English word for that.
They are not demigods, however. Demigods are born of mortal flesh. These things, the All Risen, are not.
Yep, that's exactly right, Prudence.
If this insignia is as uncommon as you say, then I imagine we'll be fine to use them.
If this was a struggle, even for someone like Prudence, you imagine not many people even know about it, let alone would know about this creature and recognize what they represent. So.
Well, I would not want to give off the wrong impression to someone who does know.
Why not? That's how we start all the best conversations.
Maybe for
Yes.
you.
I think you answered your own question there.
In air quotes.
So should we ask around if anybody knows the symbol?
So while
And find out who's trying to kill me? This time?
Not to interrupt, but just to sort of get an idea on what you guys are doing.
Hey, Hoyd, I should probably clarify, I don't think they were trying to kill specifically you. I think they were trying to kill any intruders.
No, they were trying to kill me.
Just point of order with you guys. You guys are traveling down the road, you're having this conversation. Is there anything else you guys want to be doing before sundown? You do still have a couple of days before you reach the forest.
My only thing is whenever I have a couple of things I'd want to do whenever we make camp for the night.
Okay.
What was the AC on the fire shield again?
2.
It's
It's always
Yeah.
2.
It is a normal it is a normal shield that gives +2, but it just has the bonus of the fire resistance.
Okay.
All right.
So it should be the same as your current shield, just fire resistance.
Rurik, if you wouldn't mind sort of listing off the things that you want to do when you guys make camp tonight in the chat, I will go ahead and work with that. Prudence says to Zook, well, I think covering up the symbol is a lot of work, but if you volunteer... and over the course of the evening, Prudence is also casting Detect Magic to see if any of the other objects that you've recovered is magical, and it is not. You cast Detect Magic, and your vision opens up, and the only pricks of magical light that you see are the magical auras are on the items you already know are magical. Like, looking at I think it'd be Zook's pack. Looking at Zook's pack is just like, or no, looking at Rurik's pack is just like a blob of magical auras because of all the potions and magic items he has. Okay, so Prudence, you use your final sending spell of the day to transmit the information to Elaine, letting her know about the symbol. I'm not going to make you type out like specifically what you say. That's fine. You're smart. You can figure out how to say it in 25 words. You send that back, and she returns the message, returns sending to you, and says, "I'll let you know once I've made an examination of this, and I'll tell you what my price is." And then you can meet me where I am to come pick up your reward. Cool.
What
Right.
was the name of that town again? Birchyeft?
Birchyeft. Oh no.
No.
Nope.
Yeft.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't have
EFT.
I don't have a newspaper. Birchyeft. Y-E-F-T.
Okay.
Like heft, but sillier.
Oh my god, no.
Birchyeft. Oh my god, that's how I'm gonna pronounce it now. I'm gonna start calling them Yefts.
Yes. Yes.
Yefts.
Yeah.
Anyway. The rest of the day proceeds without incidents. You guys pull to the side of the road, finding a suitable spot for you to camp. I assume, Prudence, if you have the spell slots, you're going to make the dome. And you rest for the evening. Yeah, right, ritual spell, doesn't matter. Because you're a wizard, and that's how wizards work. I am going to skip the next couple days, because they also pass without incident. Nothing particularly catches your eye.
I too like time travel.
As you travel the next couple of days.
Ooh.
Ooh, those are really good portents. I'll let you just carry those portents on to the next quote-unquote day that we experience. That's fine.
Oh, that's so
okay,
nice.
so Rurik, when you stop for the evening, you spend time training with the flail for either Shigun or Honoré. You can do both.
And ideally, I'd like to do this every day of travel that we stop for the night, if applicable.
Yeah, I mean, you both train, and it's interesting. Fighting with Honoré. Honoré, you gather, has been trained to fight, but isn't. How do I phrase this? They're not a fighter, if you know what I mean.
He lacks like proper combat experience.
It's not even that. It's just, and this is something you notice as well, Shigun. It's something that you can spot almost immediately. Is they don't. Honoré doesn't seem to have the right mindset of a violent person. They have the spirit, they have the effort, and they know that they're almost socially obligated to train this way. But their heart's not in it, if you will. But they are, you do see, you can definitely recognize the hallmarks of your father's training, and he is a skilled combatant.
Right.
But you gather, if he had had a choice, he wouldn't have necessarily gone this way.
Understand.
Okay. So you... Alright, Rurik, you swap out one of your spells for divination. Cool.
Oh, I already have it, I think.
I mean, it's...
I
do you mean you cast divination?
Sorry, I meant I was referring to casting. Sorry. Not prepare, I mean, as in...
Like I said, you've got... you've got a couple days. I can just hand wave that you did it one of the days. That's fine.
Sorry, I meant prepare as in, like, after the training is done, take the time to cast it and stuff.
Yeah, what is it that you use as the offering?
Similar to what I've done before, I have some chunks of opal and lapis lazuli. Alongside lavender incense.
Okay. So you, as the rest of you are preparing for the evening, Rurik, you kind of tuck off to one side and make a small little depression in the earth, tucking your small offering into it, putting your hand over it, and muttering the ritual.
I've been offered up, apparently.
Oh no.
No.
Alright. And you go ahead and release the magic. You feel this small, almost like an impact slightly, and your hand drops to the earth and hits the dirt as the gems just dissipate and dissolve into nothingness. What is your question?
Oh, mighty Radiance, I seek your counsel concerning the fate of a potential dealing with the dragon Seltzva near Birchyeft. Might we hearken to a favorable encounter, or fall to calamitous ruin?
Okay, so you're... I'm just trying to make sure I'm parsing what you're asking correcking.
I can paste it if you like. I had this prepared a while ago.
No, that's fine. You're asking.
I'm basically asking. Hey, we're about to encounter a dragon. Is this gonna go good or bad?
Okay, yeah, that's about what I gathered. I just forgot the name of your deity for a hot. I forgot the name of Pelor for a hot minute.
You forgot
that's
about
why I was struggling there.
Wait. Yes, Light Daddy is the name.
No, stop that. Stop it!
Stop that. Stop that. I enjoy it too much.
Oh my god, no, please stop it. No, that word has been ruined for me. Anyway, okay. So the response you get back... I gotta think about this for a second. The response you get back is less of a... There's no words involved. But as you feel the spell sort of begin to end, you get a bit of a chill and suddenly feel very cold and alone. And as soon as you start to grasp onto these feelings, they disappear, and you return to your original sort of state of being. It's not augury, but you gather...
It's not what?
Augury? Augury is another spell that it's a lot more vague than this. I'm just using this for flavor. Yeah, divination does give specific information. I was just using this for flavor. You gather, most likely, if nothing changes between then and now, a relatively negative interaction. Yeah, divination is another spell, and the only responses you get are wheel, woe, or neutral. But in this case, that's what you were asking, so that's the response I gave.
God damn it. I love that.
I like this cannon.
No.
You're welcome, / I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Sorry, not sorry.
That's true, I'm neither of those.
You're not even a little bit sorry.
No, if I were, I wouldn't have done it.
Alright.
I will ruminate upon this over the evening.
Okay.
And we can carry on.
Alright.
And wait my required hold time.
As I do. You get that charming little hold music.
Oh yes, and Hoyt is in the background playing it.
Same fucking hold music that everyone has. Anyway. So the next couple days...
I will share my finding from that when we resume traveling in the morning.
Okay. You let the group know that Pelor has told you that the group... Well, so what is it that you say to the group?
I communed with Pelor last night to ascertain the potential of the outcome of dealing with the dragon near Birchyeft, and the outlook does not seem too positive.
Anything we can do?
How confident are you in this coming to pass?
Well, unfortunately, it is a...
No, go ahead. Sorry.
It's something that is it's going to be very vague either way. For all I know, it could be it could have been something that had to do with the current state of the village, or maybe it could refer to specifically if we were to approach the dragon directly.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say exactly what it refers to, but I am fairly confident we can conclude that things are not good over there.
Prudence said a few things.
So
Yes.
Prudence kind of cuts in and says, "That does not pretend well. Perhaps we should do something else? At least collect information."
Well, if we at least stop by the village, that'll give us an inkling as to what's happening.
Perhaps it's something we could help with.
Maybe.
How might we best prepare?
A good night's sleep is always the best preparation for me, at least. Don't know about others.
The worst case scenario would be getting into a fight with the dragon.
Yeah, I'd prefer to avoid that.
That's the worst case scenario, so it might be best if we prepare for that.
But we've already done that once.
As Prudence suggests to Zook, we could contact anyone you know with the sending spell.
Could.
What about someone in the village? You know, perhaps the mayor or someone else that you might know who might be able to help us out?
Zook is thinking.
Do you have an authority figure in your village?
Of course, if the dragon potentially has his hold on the village, I don't know how reliable the information could potentially be. Because we saw what happened with my town with that thing.
Dragons don't tend to control minds, says Prudence. I will settle on an accent for you eventually. It's only been a year and a half, but I promise I will. Actually, it's been... Oh god.
That's his charm.
It's been almost 2 years, good lord. Do you remember the color? You do know it's another green dragon.
I thought it was black.
Oh god, I hope
No,
not.
I
so
thought it was red.
the black dragon is a different one that was described to you in a different location. Ranfard described to you a green dragon. Described, oh goodness. What's your name?
Seltzfar, yeah.
Seldsfar, thank you. Described Seldsfar as a green dragon. They
You
are
know
a...
the age of the dragon relative to the,
Yep, seltzer. Done.
you did not ask, and he did not tell you.
I'm pretty sure it was younger.
Oh, we can simply send a message, can't we?
They were described,
Okay.
They were described
Okay.
as upstart, so they're likely younger, but you don't know how much younger.
They're also female, apparently.
That was information that
Okay.
slipped out. I don't think Ranfard actually told you that, but yes.
Oh,
Hey,
none of them
Prudence?
are.
Information from somewhere.
Prudence.
Zook, what's up?
Prudence cast sending to the village chief Eliwick. Tell her that you're an associate of me, and that I want to know what's going on. That's a name I made up on the spot. I will just grabbed it from the player's handbook.
See?
I will.
See, that's fine. I wouldn't have believed that. You don't. Half of this game is improvisation. That's totally fine.
I have DMU.
Yep, I also wrote it down.
The name.
Yep, I wrote it down.
The DM.
Surprisingly, I actually know how that one's spelled because I have played a character with that name. So.
Writing into your DMs.
Although I guess it's not that surprising. I have played a lot of characters. But anyway.
Okay.
That's the problem with being a forever DM, is like, I've played a lot of characters in 2nd edition and 3rd edition. I've only played a few characters in 5th edition.
I'm gonna guess she probably does not have a bubbly disposition.
Ah, 2nd edition, so you've played with Thaco.
We don't talk about Thaco in this house.
Thaco, it's like, alright, you know the AC system in D&D? You have to hit a number? Imagine that, but in reverse.
And also, you have to look everything up on a table every goddamn time you make an attack roll. Anyway, Thaco was a mistake. It made sense back in the day, but it doesn't make sense anymore. Anyway, Prudence, you send to Eliwick, which the name and her title is enough for you to recognize and send. Dear Eliwick, I am an associate of Zook Timbers, and he would like to know if everyone is safe. What is going on with you? And as he's finishing the message, he says to Lloyd, I would like to avoid contacting Ranfard. The response you get back is short, almost brusque. And she says, yes, we're fine. Tell Zook he's missed. And that's it.
I suppose tell her I'm heading home.
She says, so he repeats what she said, and he says, which I assume is code word for we're not fine?
This is fine.
Tell her that I'm heading home with some dangerous friends. That I'm heading home with friends. With just friends. I've made some friends. I'm heading home with some friends.
To be fair, you don't necessarily need to know the meaning of sending if Zook wants to tell you to say something in Thieves' Cant. You can, in theory, send that message, but
she wouldn't know.
She wouldn't recognize the words anyway. I'm just saying for future reference. As I just thought of this just now, like, oh, you actually, like, if you can teach somebody how to think the words in the right language, they don't need to be fluent in the language to send a message. You just need somebody else coaching you. Now that I think about it, that's crazy. I'll say for reference, you'll arrive the next day or something. So by the time you get there, you'll be topped up, if you will.
Tell her I'm heading home and that I've made some friends. That is my final revision of that.
Zook is heading home, and he's made some friends. I apologize if we're imposing. And the response you get back is once again very quick. And she says, well, if Zook can help you get in, then I suppose he must trust you, which means we are going to trust you too. And that's all you get.
Alright then. Well, that seems a lot less foreboding than I was expecting. So perhaps the city itself is fine, and the feeling I got from Paylor was more assigned to the dealing with the dragon specifically.
I'm not sure if that makes it feel better or worse.
Get this monster manual out here.
Oh, great. Ember rolled for intimidation.
I'm looking something else up related to the world, so... Alright, so, for the sake of ease and my sanity, you guys get to the edge of the wood by about mid-afternoon or so. I'd say noon-ish. Oh. Sorry, oh, that's why, okay. There was just an entry in the dungeon monster manual that I thought was in a different supplement, but it turns out it's in the monster manual, so shows what I know. Anyway, so you get to the edge of the wood, and Zook, you taking the lead at this point, recognized very easily at the edge of the wood a very familiar sight, and do you sort of point out the little landmarks to the group? There's like a small, ever so slightly like an arch shape created by the trees, but it's like if you don't know what's there, you'd never see it.
I'm not pointing out the landmarks to them. I am just going to lead them through a path that seems apparently to wind around and loop back on itself, but is in fact the shortest and only way to get to the village.
Okay. Yeah, so you're basically saying, like, oh, we have to go this way, we have to go this way. Yeah, no, that works.
Just follow me, yeah.
So you, taking the lead, you give the group directions, and you know from the edge of the wood, it's less than a day's travel, probably maybe a couple hours at most, from the edge of the wood to where the village is. And you get most of the way through, and then...
At one point there's a bridge, but then we have to step down into the riverbed below and then walk under it.
To get through, yeah, due to the illusory nature.
How short do I have to stoop to follow him?
So you get to this bridge, and you have to duck. You're not crawling on your hands and knees. It is a gnomish village, but gnomes aren't that short on average. And you pass through this. The cart only just fits. Like, you struggle to get the horses through. It's, like I said, it's small.
I mean, we get traders.
Sure, like, you have to accommodate them. It's a bit uncomfortable, but it's not like you're not wedging yourself underneath this thing. You're not crawling on hands and knees. You duck a little. Because, horses have to get through here. But Zook, as you pass under this sort of landmark, if you will, you just pause for a moment, because the next landmark you see is one you should have already passed. And in fact, it was one you did pass, not 15-20 minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
Prudence,
no.
make a perception check as we're going along to see if you can spot, or at least guess. Actually, no, make a survival check.
Can I use message to figure out if, like, anybody in the village is nearby?
Can I put my ear to the multiple paths and see if I hear a song?
So, Zook, I believe you'd have to have a target, like a specific target for message. Let me double check the wording of message, but I believe you'd have to have a specific target. Toward a creature in range. Yeah, so you do have to have a specific target, unfortunately. You can't just, like, broadcast a message out in any direction.
That is awesome.
Well, for the moment, I will continue as normal.
Okay. So you continue, you do pause, and there's a moment where you just catch and be like, wait a minute, didn't we already... Never mind, let's keep going.
Well, it's been a while since I've, done this.
Sure, no, that's fine. Prudence, with your survival check of 18, you recognize landmarks. You don't know if it's the landmarks that Zook is looking at, but you do notice that, every time a direction is made, there is something unique about the environment. So, at a minimum, you're finding landmarks for yourself. You don't know if it's the ones that's intended, but nonetheless.
Are we lost?
So, Zook, you continue on, and something is definitely up. The landmark you passed is followed by a landmark that should come before it.
Okay, I'm gonna stop, and I'm going to...
Okay.
I'm going to ask Prudence to message Eliwick again, asking, have you changed the code?
That's a good way of putting it, actually. It's a really good way of putting it.
Have you changed the path through the Lost Woods?
Have you moved the trees?
No, that's a great way of... I would have never thought of that. That's a really good
Have they changed the code?
Okay.
Specifically that phrasing.
Using that phrase exactly? Okay.
Change the locks.
To Eliwick, Zook says he's lost. Have they changed the code? He asks.
I did not say I was lost. I know these woods quite well. I know where I am. This is a different matter.
It's the sending spell tax. Okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to make light of this situation. This is actually like quite a not good thing for.
Oh, good.
But all right. There's a moment, and you hear back. No, it should be the same as always. Why? Are you having difficulty getting through? That's not the voice I used earlier. It's fine. No big deal. It was supposed to be the same voice.
You know what? I'll not respond. Let's leave the forest because we're leaving. I think my theory is that I'm not allowed to bring you guys in somehow.
Okay.
Whatever you think is best.
Alright. So you turn around and you start following the...
We're going all the way out of the forest.
Landmarks in reverse.
All the way out.
With the assistance of Prudence, because Prudence was also looking for landmarks, you're able to find your way in reverse. You go for about an hour.
Dang.
And you stop. Because you passed this landmark already.
Oh no.
And you and Prudence
seriously?
both are in agreement. You've already passed this, and this doesn't... Why are you... And you look back, and as you look back
Should
to
not
the
be very difficult to exit the forest.
You're looking back, and as you look back to the landmark you passed, I don't know, 100 feet away, it's not there anymore.
Is there some other illusion magic at play?
So, Prudence, you send Deer, and you direct her to try and sense any invisible things. Zook, how is it that you're looking to see if there's any other magic going on here?
I don't have a way of figuring that out, I don't think. I'm just,
Just hypothesizing out loud?
I'm wondering.
Okay. So Prudence, make a perception check for Deer as you are ritual casting Detect Magic. Alright. So with an 18, Deer kind of looks around. There's nothing invisible. Nothing unseen. Excuse me. Or at least nothing beyond what you can see.
The whole area should, under normal conditions, just kind of light up with illusion magic.
Yep. So you finish casting Detect Magic, and you do detect illusion magic, but it's in spots. Sporadic, here and there. Interestingly, the landmark that's closest to you, the one that you stopped at, no magic. You look at the ground and you see just this very faint, almost a mist of an aura of transmutation magic. With the knowledge that Zook gives you about the illusions, you like I said, you definitely see very, very strongly almost beacons of illusion magic here and there, and you look forward to about where you'd expect the next landmark to be, and there it is with illusion magic as one would expect. Oop! I accidentally kicked the camera.
Okay, let's go over there.
It's not where it's supposed to. It's not where it's supposed to be relative to the others, if that makes sense. At least Zook would know this. So.
Well, I want to go to there because I'm not really trusting this particular spot with the transmutation magic.
Okay. For reference, so let me rephrase. I may have described this poorly. and I know I did the illusions correctly, so little beacons of illusion here and there. The transmutation magic, it's not on any specific object. It's like a very faint mist, just sort of hovering above the ground. Either it's the ground itself, or something like just off the ground, or something. It's nothing invisible, or else deer would have seen it. But it's just this very faint aura, just permeating everything. So when you, Prudence, when you describe the transmuted object, it's not really an object, it's just kind of there. I mean, you can try to identify the dirt if you'd like, but... so, Zook, you wanted to go back to the last, I guess, quote-unquote, correct landmark that is illusion.
Yeah.
Do you want to... You head back to... and you all head back there.
No, everyone's coming with me, yeah.
Okay, everyone comes with you and goes back to what the quote-unquote correct landmark should be. So you... Can you identify an illusory... So the problem with an illusory object is it's not actually a physical, tangible thing. So when you reach up to put your hand through the landmark that... To touch the landmark that Zook points out, your hand just passes through it. So it's not exactly... Yeah, that's the limitation of identify. It's to identify actual tangible things, and illusions don't quite fit that bill. Or at least it's a visual illusion anyway.
Can I take an attempt at Arcana, since I use illusion a lot? See if this feels familiar at all.
With the information given to you by Zook and Prudence, I would say yes, you can make an Arcana check.
I would like to also make an Arcana check.
Yes, if you'd like also to make an Arcana check, that would be good as well.
I will give guidance if you require.
Can I make an Arcana check with proficiency based on, because like personal experience?
I will say not.
Oh shit!
Not with proficiency, but I will give you a +2. Because it's actually, you know what? No, you take proficiency on this one. You're right. And Rurik, you can grant guidance. Hoyd's already rolled, but you can grant guidance to. Guidance is a D4. Not just a flat 4, but that's fine.
That was a typo, and you know it.
But that's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it legitimately, like, it doesn't matter because the result is the same.
I got a 25.
So with your Zook first, with your knowledge of this area with the illusions, A, this is very wrong. you can know that outright. B, whatever is causing this has to be more powerful than the illusion magic that cloaks these woods. There are very few things that you know to be that powerful, and with Prudence's assistance, you gather this probably has something to do with a very strongly magical being. For example, a dragon. Hoyd, you gather sort of a similar... I would say you arrive at the same conclusion for different reasons, mostly because you don't have experience with these particular woods. But you do know if an entire area is blanketed in illusion magic, not only A, changing that illusion, but B, maintaining that illusion in a different way is ridiculously powerful.
Is it a single spell or multiple?
Probably not a spell. Probably more of just an influence exerted on an area by an entity, by a powerful entity.
Okay. So this is way more powerful than we were expecting. Zook, you don't remember a dragon at all?
Not so. Of note, there's a couple of things in play, and this is something that Prudence would be familiar with from his research. The regional effects of a dragon tend to spawn from an extraordinarily powerful dragon. The magic, I would say base, sort of almost baseline magical energy necessary to maintain those changes isn't necessarily the same power. So, for example, in theory, this is, I would say Prudence would be able to draw this conclusion with his research. A very powerful ancient dragon would be able to create and exert this force on the area, and it would take a not substantially, but somewhat weaker dragon would be able to maintain the effect. And you gather, you already know one extraordinarily powerful dragon lived in this area at one time. But with with what Ranfard told you and with Prudence's knowledge on dragons, it doesn't necessarily have to be an equally or greater power dragon that is maintaining these regional effects.
So the other dragons simply changed the locks.
And Prudence is sort of, as he's rolling these ideas around in his head, is telling you what he's figuring out. So.
Okay. Two things. First, I want to try and get, Prudence to send... Lost my train of thought for a second.
Toot toot.
Okay, another message to Eliwick. Basically is... Okay. The path seems a bit screwed up. Have you been getting any traders recently? So that's the first thing. I want to send a message on that note. And second thing...
I will say, so I just want to, for Prudence's reference, I will say this is happening on the day you would be expecting to arrive at the village. So, sorry, carry on.
And my second thing is... Am I familiar enough with the path to be able to navigate it blind? Or, in the dark?
You? Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone in the village is.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna blindfold myself then, and start doing that, because... that's... how to deal... how to just completely short-circuit illusion magic.
Okay.
And first attempt to get my bearings. Am I even on the path at all?
Okay. So you go and you, taking a step away from the group for just a moment, you just close your eyes at first and just get a feel for your surroundings. And make a survival check. I will say, yes, you can get your bearings, but the relative roll will have an effect on how certain you are of this.
Ow, 21.
Yeah, so you step away and you close your eyes and you take a breath, and there's a distinct smell, a very specific, not earthy exactly, but that's what you're expecting, type of smell, and you realize you are quite close to the village. A lot closer than you would have expected based on the landmarks that you were seeing. as you're doing this, Prudence sends the message to Eliwick. Zook says, the path seems screwed up. Have you been getting traders lately? And from me, are you sure you are right? And, the message you received is, traders. Yes, we've received the ones we've expected. I got the voice wrong again. Anyway, and yes, I'm pretty sure we're all right. Nothing seems out of the ordinary.
I'm going to call out to the group like, hey, I've got a beat on this. Got a beat on this now. You know, because, like, illusions are generally visual, so.
I imagine you're saying this to the rest of the group.
Yeah, it's like,
do you detect any...
oh, I figured it out. I know where we are.
Do you detect any lies? Okay, yeah, no, you'd hear her voice, Prudence. Make an insight check. With disadvantage, because you're only hearing her voice and not catching any of the body language involved. With a 10, you don't detect any lies or anything untrustworthy about what she's saying. I'll leave it as an exercise to the reader whether you believe her or not, but you don't notice anything outright false about it. Okay, you relay the message to Zook, and you and the rest of the group follow Zook. Zook, with your do you blindfold yourself with like a cloth, or do you just clap your hand on your eyes, or just keep your eyes closed? Just for flavors.
I feel like I might as well use a cloth. It's easier.
Okay. So you watch as Zook just zips one of his cloths out of a bit of his sleeve, with a bit of a flourish. With his eyes still closed, so he has no idea whether anyone was watching or not. But and he ties the cloth over his eyes, and he directs you through the woods. And walking along, Prudence...
Blind leading the blind.
Pretty much. Prudence just carrying on from the survival check you made earlier. You don't recognize these landmarks anymore. The directions, like the turns that he's making, it's getting difficult for you to catch anything unique about the directions he's moving in. But you are progressing forward, and you are getting somewhere. The fact that you're not recognizing where you are means that you're going somewhere new, from your understanding. And eventually, Zook, you are just sort of almost on autopilot for a little bit, and you go to...
When I get to the spot where I'm like, okay, this is the entrance, I'm going to take the blindfold off.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to ask. So you go to take a step almost into the village and stop, your foot hovering in the air, and you step just a half step back, pull the blindfold off, and look around you, and you see, looking forward, and the rest of you see this as well, although a bit faint, as there is still a slight illusory cover over it. You see the houses and structures built up into the trees. You see the zip lines almost, and sky bridges connecting each of the buildings, the structures that have been built up in the trees. And you see probably a dozen, if not more, people that are gathered here. It's not exactly a gate per se, but the entrance area that have gathered here to all welcome you home. And
here we are.
How the heck did you do that?
I know this place.
I mean, clearly not.
Are you sure about that?
At the front of this, you see an older gnomish woman, bright red hair with like 3 or 4 streaks of gray running through it. She's got, you can see in one hand, she's got a small knife, but not like a weapon, like a whittling knife in one hand and a small stick in the other, and she's just going at the whittling for a little bit. And you see she's kind of got her hip cocked to one side, hand on one hip. She says, "Well, it's about time you showed up. So these are your friends? Welcome to But oh good God, I've already forgotten it.
It's Birchyeft.
Thank you. Is it I swear I will remember this eventually. I just keep thinking Birchloft.
I keep thinking Birchloft too.
That was the first name for it.
Welcome to
I like
Birchyeft. You look like death. Come on, let's get you inside, get you cleaned up. And that's where we'll end tonight's session, because I gotta get up super early in the morning, so I apologize for a short session.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay. So, our next Friday session is going to be on Friday the 26th. Same time as usual, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm also running a Monday group. They're going to be running on next Monday the 15th. They start at 6 p.m. Hopefully, assuming work doesn't get in the way. As always, thank you guys for coming and watching, and thank you guys so much for coming and playing. Have a good night.